Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and I'm talking about another show from when I was a kid. Cartoon, I loved it deeply. Most kids from the 90s did. Animaniacs, the original run. This is not the reboot. You could say a remake, but it's really just a reboot from what I understand. From a few years ago, like 2020 or 2021. I don't know. It's canceled now, too. But this original show started in 1993. It ran until 1998 with 5 seasons. And when I was a kid, I loved Animaniacs. I'm going to be honest with you, even though this is a quote unquote series review, this very much like Freakazoid, which I'm still trying to make my way through the only season, I think, or volume or whatever of Freakazoid I have. This did not age like I thought it would. There's a little bit more of me growing up and getting older and realizing the flaws in a cartoon I loved from when I was a kid, but there's also like the aspect that even though Steven Spielberg himself was apparently involved with making this, it's a production from him, not as a director as far as I know, but as a presentation. I assume it's a producer role, executive producer, something like that. Steven Spielberg's a big name. I love and respect the guy to death. Um, this show has not it's not what I remember, you know, to be honest with you. Obviously, there's like an intro, an outro, and like 3 sketches in here. Maybe like 10 minutes to maybe 12, 13 minutes of the episode is focused around the main 3 characters, the Animaniacs themselves, which, by the way, the name Animaniacs, I really, really love that title. I think it's super clever. The show can have clever things about it, but like there's so much that just isn't that good. It's too I know it's a cartoon, but hear me out. It's more aimed for a children's audience. Think of some of the weaker Pixar movies out there. They're aimed more for the children's audience rather than families, like where the parents and adults and teenagers can be enjoying something too. But anyway, there's always like a middle short in these episodes, and this was fairly common back in the day with pretty much any cartoon I grew up with, like Billy and Mandy. They would have like Evil Con Carne, and then they went to like the full half an hour block was Billy and Mandy itself, not Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. But this show does like a segment, then a segment of some other stupid ass cartoon or sing along thing that I fucking hate, like the stupid pigeons thing I think that are involved here. There was some other ones that sucked. Like I think one of them was like a baby or something, and it wasn't like it didn't. This is the thing. This is the competitor. I don't know which one came first. I don't remember. But 2 things competed once upon a time: Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures. I had seen Animaniacs. I had never seen Tiny Toon Adventures, and now I own most of Tiny Toon on physical media, except for like 1 volume that you can't get your hands on. I think I have the whole show aside from that 1 volume, but point is, I just got to see the first volume of Tiny Toon Adventures, like 3 discs of that show last year, and I loved it. It was so clever and so fun. There's a memory I'm going to talk about that I think is from Animaniacs when I tried to watch it towards the end of last year and a little bit more this year. I've struggled so much with what I have watched of like the first 4 or 5 discs of this show. Or maybe 6. I think I made it all the way into like most of season 2 and I had to quit. I couldn't do this anymore. I tapped the fuck out. But Tiny Toon Adventures, it felt like every episode, every segment, every character was fun to me. And some of them are just knockoff regular Looney Tunes characters, but I had a good time. Anyway, Animaniacs, getting back to that, I like our main 3, the Animaniacs themselves from the title. There's Yakko, the oldest one who wears trousers. There's Wacko, who I think is the second oldest. There's even a movie called Wacko's Wish that I used to see advertised all the time on VHS tapes and recently saw it advertised on something my wife and I watched too. And I think I saw that like 1 time, either from Hollywood Video when I rented it or maybe from like Netflix. It's been so long I don't remember. I remember that movie not being that great. Maybe I would have liked it more like how I did with this show when I was a kid. I don't know. But Wacko's Wish is included in this box set that I bought from Walmart years ago. So maybe I'll watch that here soon or over the weekend or in the next week or so and try to get around to it. I got a lot of series movies I got to catch up on, like the Yu Yu Hakusho movies, or like now I just finished The Batman from 2004, so now I got to watch Batman versus Dracula. I'm behind on a lot of this stuff, just so you know. This weekend I'll probably spend some time trying to catch up on those things. But anyway, I like Yakko, the oldest brother, Wacko, the middle brother, who wears a backwards hat and stuff. And there's also a younger sister. I think she's the youngest of the group, the littlest sister, Dot. I think she's super funny. Like, they do some really good stuff with all three of them, but Dot really stands out with some of the jokes she has. She's probably the most clever of the group, and Wacko, the one with the red cap, usually is the dumbest of the group. But they're all three wacko and goofy and stupid. They fuck with people around them. Sometimes they're written as if they're idiots, and sometimes they're written in a very Bugs Bunny way. And Animaniacs will reference pop culture. I think it started that, and I think Tiny Toon Adventures did a lot of that too, or vice versa, whichever one came first. But I think Tiny Toon Adventures does it a lot better, and I like those characters better in hindsight, watching this now as an adult. Animaniacs is just, again, there's a lot of singing and shit, and not even for good songs. Obviously, you have the one about the different, the different states in the U.S. I can't remember if it's that or countries. I can never remember the song. People my age can literally sing the song word for word. My childhood best friend's wife knows the song by fucking heart. And I don't know how. I don't know how. I brought it up one day, and she recited the whole thing at the table when we were all having dinner. And I'm like, how in the world do you remember this song? How was this cartoon that important to you that you remembered this for the rest of your life? Anyway, I love her. She's a great chick. But Animaniacs, when it comes to like this segment in the middle of the show, like with the pigeons, for example, I hate those damn things. But later on, you get like Pinky and the Brain. I think I mentioned this, I may have not. I love Pinky and the Brain. And matter of fact, the reason I wanted to rewatch Animaniacs was because of an episode that I thought was Animaniacs. It turns out it was from the Pinky and the Brain original cartoon, which I also own. And just for the record, I had watched a couple of episodes of that. Pinky and the Brain, from what I've seen, is so much better than Animaniacs. And you see people say this all the time on the internet, on older Reddit posts, on newer Reddit posts. People who like cartoons typically say that if you're not the biggest Animaniacs fan, that Pinky and the Brain really aged well, and I agree. I absolutely agree. The best thing about Animaniacs is when they have these three leads, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, like I said. Anything really involving them that's not singing, you can have a good time. I like how what I mentioned a moment ago where they fuck with people around them. Like there's a therapist, and when the therapist is by himself, I do not like those segments. When he's messing in a segment, a skit, whatever, with these three, which by the way, what are the Animaniacs? What are they? I looked online. Some people theorize they're dogs. Other people say, well, they're just a cartoon of whatever, like it's just a random thing that doesn't exist. It's not like Scooby-Doo where it's an actual particular breed of a dog or anything. It could be a couple of animals blended together. Point is, they're annoying, they're crazy, but they're fun to watch mess with people. I love when the doctor's nurse is there and they go, hello, nurse. Like, I never knew where I got that from as a kid. I've been saying that my whole life, especially when I had my back injury and I would go to the hospital, or the ER, really. And you'd meet like nurses and stuff, and every once in a while, you would see one that was just shocking, you know? And you just couldn't help but think, hello, nurse. Every 90s kid has done this, and none of us probably remembered where it was from. It's from Animaniacs. You're welcome. But this show is, to me, in hindsight, I loved it as a kid, but the episode that I was referring to a little bit ago that I wanted to see so badly was a Star Wars-themed episode. And I loved when I was growing up and kids, shows and cartoons would reference Star Wars because I was such a diehard fan and still am. Well, it turns out that's from Pinky and the Brain. It's not even here. Just so you know, in case you're looking for the Star Wars episode with the mallet lightsabers, which are awesome. By the way, I went and watched that episode because I was so pissed off over how this cartoon was not for me. That I went and watched that on Pinky and the Brain, and it was really good. It was a great episode, really enjoyed it. It was creative, but it's not as good as the Muppet Babies Star Wars episode. Just saying. I know that was way before, but I'm just saying. The Muppet Babies was a good show. The Star Wars episode involving Return of the Jedi was so much better than what the Pinky and the Brain Star Wars episode is. But that was good. It's not in this box set, just so you know. I'm all over the place in this review, as you can tell. I'm sorry about that. That's just the kind of Michael you're getting today. I'm not feeling the greatest, even though I might sound great. And I even took the day off from work because I don't feel the best. And I wanted some time to just chill and relax and watch some TV. So Animaniacs, again, I got like 2 seasons in, most of the first 2 seasons in. And I heard that it never really changes formula or anything like that as it goes on. I don't know if like all these secondary skits in the middle of the show that suck, like the birds, the pigeons, whatever, I'm not sure if like they're still in there later on. I don't see how they could, but like you'll see people online say they loved those birds. And I number one, I don't know how you did, but number two, if it's in there, I have no interest in continuing the series and trying to figure out whether they're there or not. I Google AI search will be just fine for people like me. Because I don't think I could even bring myself to watch the Animaniacs remake thing. People say that it's worse than this. Some people say it's just as good. It's like it's kicking off all over again. After what I saw here, I have no interest. I'm just saying. I wanted to love this. Going back into it, I was kind of excited because I've been looking for another good cartoon to watch. And again, over the last like 6 months or so, trying my best to get through this, trying to get through like a disc a month. Ugh, it's terrible. It's terrible, man. It just doesn't age well. The saddest thing is that it's so colorful, and the jokes, like I think this show, not Tiny Toon Adventures, but this may be the short that I was referring to earlier that I could get wrong. I think that when they referenced pop culture here at one point in this show or Tiny Toon Adventures, they had a Jack Nicholson like joke. It wasn't him in the show, but they said, "Oh, Jack Nicholson eating a Caesar salad," and he like, it was such a good impression, and it was so funny. I loved that, but I barely laughed at this show. It just feels like, again, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot barely have airtime in the show when you watch those first 2 seasons. And that's a shame to me because they're the most entertaining part. But I tried. I tried to get through it. It's just not what I want. I will say it's a colorful show, like I mentioned a second ago. The animation is fantastic. It might be one of the most beautifully animated shows ever in America. In American history, to this day, I think the animation smoothness, the frame rate, the way it looks, it is fantastic. Character designs are great. If the Jack Nicholson thing is here, the look of him, the look of these other characters when they reference pop culture are so well done, and I love that. If you have like kind of like Halloween themed episodes and stuff, if I remember correctly, I think they did have a couple here. It was the 90s after all. You had things like Goosebumps doing it. Everything did it once upon a time. I remember that being cool. If that was there and I didn't imagine it, I'm pretty sure those were pretty cool looking. And in case you didn't know, since this is a Warner Brothers show and literally has like the back lot is where these 3 live at and stuff, like they come out of the WB Tower, the water tower from the actual lot where they film shows and stuff. They have DC stuff in here, like Batman and Superman will appear in here sometimes. Other WB properties will show up here and there, not just pop culture references to actors and stuff. It's usually Hollywood actor stuff because of Steven Spielberg being so heavily ingrained into this and being so involved in it from what I understand. But yeah, you'll have like Batman just show up and he looks awesome. Anyways, I wanted to enjoy the show a lot more than I did, but it's one of those things that just does not age as well. When I was growing up, I used to love like Nutcracker animated movies and stuff for Christmas time because I was a big fan of Nutcrackers. I still collect them to this day. And some of those movies that are the early CGI 3D animation, they turned so bad. You don't even realize how bad they are when you're a kid. Like the Barbie Nutcracker movie and like the Nuttiest Nutcracker movie, which I think was I think both of those were straight to video from what I remember. Both of them are so awful now, despite some of the people who may be there. Like my boy, like Jim Belushi and stuff from According to Jim. He'll be in like the Nuttiest Nutcracker is like the Rat King and stuff. And those movies have aged so poorly the older you got that it's kind of hard to go back and watch them, to be honest with you. That's what happened with Animaniacs to me, and it's sad. And it makes me sad because I'll probably never touch this box set again unless I watch Wacko's Wish and review it. because it's a standalone TV movie. But yeah, what do you guys think about Animaniacs? What do you think about its reboot remake thing? What do you think about the Wacko's Wish movie and all that? Do you love this show? Have you tried to watch it as an adult, whether you've seen it as a kid or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below. Because it's so... It's not the fun kind of cartoon. It's a fun kind of cartoon when you're a kid, but not when you're an adult, and it's just kind of annoying more than anything. I'd love to hear what you all have to say about it down below, and the awesome score that it has. It has some really good music for the show, not the musicals where the characters are singing, but I mean background music, the highlight scenes and transitions and stuff. That stuff feels like some of the peak cartoon score music. I love it. But everything else is such a mixed bag, dude, that I'll never be able to enjoy this the way I did when I was a kid. What's better to you, this or Pinky and the Brain? Or Tiny Toon Adventures? Let me know all that down below, too. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.